Welcome back, everybody, to another Digital Gate Studios production. Basil's back with some awesome stuff. Let's go. What do you got?
Yeah, we Nationals is in the rear view.
Yep.
And we're on to basically an EX5. I was like, okay, let's build a new Vismon or Melga and then see which one we take to Nationals. And then from there, we're back from Nationals. It was amazing. And now it's like, what else can we build out of this set?
Yeah.
And kind of like you were in BT14, I didn't make it very far past the box toppers. And so we've arrived with one of the last Royal Knights we have for the BT13 format. We've got Examon.
Okay.
The promo Dracomon was one of the cards in the box topper. We'll get to that in a minute. But some other new cards and some other additions. But we'll just jump right into it.
Let's go.
Starting with the EX3 set is where most of the deck is going to come from.
Yeah.
And that is obviously not changing with the Baby Domon.
Yeah.
The reason that this is important is a lot of our rookies evo for 1 or 0 on a Baby Domon. The other options for Baby Domon is the BT10, the old blue flare. If your opponent has 2 Digimon, draw 1. Ideally, in this deck, our opponent will have 0 Digimon by the time it's our turn.
Yeah.
And extra DP is really nice. I want to know that this is the actual errata pack card, so this is actually how the card is. When you unsuspend and you're a Dramon or an Examon, gain that 1k.
Gotcha.
So basically, if our Examon is dying in battle, we've lost.
Yeah.
We need to be able to block and kill whatever we're attacking is ever attacking.
For those of you who don't know, EX3 was a nightmare for erratas.
Yeah. Luckily, there's only 2 errated cards in this deck, and I have the errata pack for both of them.
There we go.
So I know exactly what these cards do. And as previously mentioned, the promo Dracomon was what originally brought me to this deck. And so I'll just read it for those of you who don't know it. It's your turn. When you play specifically a ground Dramon, this Digimon may evolve for 3 into a wing Dramon. So for those of you who don't know, the way this deck functions is you build a wing Dramon stack and a ground Dramon stack, and then they're level 5s that can be treated as level 6s for a DNA into Examon.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, we have a Dracomon in the raising and they pass the turn to us. Theoretically, they could be facing Examon with a level 6 in the next turn just from the rookie.
That's wild.
So that's the appeal of this card.
Yeah.
The other nice thing about this card is its inheritable is the same, but you don't have to pay the cost. So let's say you have this Dracomon with a level 4 on top of it, a core Dramon. You can play the ground Dramon, evo into the wing Dramon for free, and then end of turn DNA. So that's the strength of this card. The downside of this card is that after you're into Examon, it has no inheritable, effectively. So on the other inheritables we'll get to in a sec, it was DP or memory gain and stuff like that. In this case, once we're into Examon with this, it's a dead card.
Yeah.
But the ability to threaten Examon faster than ever before is the huge advantage to this card.
Just accelerates the deck.
Basically, you have to think about, okay, yeah, my opponent is going to have 7 or 8 memory, but they're facing a level 7 and a level 6.
Yeah.
And the level 7 is blocker evade, and it forces you to attack start a main.
Yeah.
So basically, they have to out that before they can play the game.
And it'll probably trash a card when it
and we'll get to that in a sec.
There, yeah.
The next on the rookie is the EX3 Dracomon. It's our searcher for the deck. Flips 4, grabs an Examon and a Dramon. Every card in the deck is either an Examon or a Dramon or is a rookie. So it doesn't search itself. And then the inheritable is the same as the Baby Domon. When it becomes unsuspended, gain 1k. Now, this is the one that we had to go down on to make room for that promo. It's the BT10 Dracomon.
Oh, the older one. Okay.
This card is quite good. The BT11, I'm saying. I mean, this card is really good because this deck bricks pretty heavily. You have to make room for a lot of high-level Digimon.
Yep.
And in that case, it's sort of like, well, draw power is going to be a little bit lower in a lot of games. The reason this was good is you could promote your Dracomon and then play out a level 4, like just hard play it to try to get up into your line and draw one, as well as the inheritable when you go into Examon. So before we had this, if you had this in your stack and you had a level 5 in the raising, you'd promote, you'd play the other level 5, you'd gain one, and you'd end of turn DNA and then gain another one when you played another Dramon because it's a new Digimon. And that is still very strong, but the problem is you needed to have level 4s as well as level 5s. This one can skip the extra level 4s, which is very nice.
It's pretty much like one turn quicker into Examon.
That's right. And of course, the reason that this is still in is because the only other Dracomon is the structure deck Dracomon, which searches 3 and grabs a Dramon, and that's it. Doesn't grab Examon and has no inheritable.
Yeah,
so
bottom deck.
These are the Dracomons we're working with. Just 10?
10.
Because there is a lot of other search in the deck, and we'll get to that a little bit later.
I see green-blue, so I have an idea.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. We'll jump into the level 4s. This is by far the weakest point in the deck. Just because the 3s used to be the weakest point in the deck, and then we got the promo Dracomon. But the level 4s, the 4 green Cordramon, this is the only green Cordramon in the game. And so this is the one that we're playing. Blocker, inherited blocker. The reason it's actually pretty good is it is a 6K blocker on top of a rookie. And, you know, a lot of the more offensive Rookie Rush style decks will fold to this card, which is nice. But it is basically just one of the only cards we can play in this slot, so that's what we're playing.
Yeah, most 3s and 4s won't beat over that for sure.
And then we've got 3 of the Security Cordramon.
Hey.
I prefer this card a lot more than having 4 of the EX3 blue Cordramon, just because we're going to have Evade on our stack because we're going to be having that from the level 5 blue, the Wing Dramon. And this is good because a lot of the times we're going to have our memory set to 3, and you just play this and draw 2. And you're going to be at 3, put your opponent to 3. It's not the end of the world. And then anytime it's out of security, it's very, very helpful because it's going to be threatening Examon pretty much that turn if they don't out it.
And it could give you a piece or 2 that you're missing.
And extra draw is very much needed in this deck. We do have to even out the 4s with 2 of the EX3 Cordramon. And like I said, if you wanted to go up or down on this card, I could see it. But I do think having 4 of the green level 4 and then 5 of the blue level 5 is the way to go. I would not put something not with Dramon in its name in this list. Like if you're thinking about playing like a blue hybrid, or something else that's blue in the level 4, I would shy away from that because having that Dramon is actually pretty important.
Yeah. Helps with all your search.
Now we'll get into the level 5s. The first is the aforementioned Wing Dramon. And I'm just going to lay out the ground Dramon right now because these cards do exactly the same thing, other than this one's evade, this one's blocker. So like I said, they're treated as level 6s for DNA into Examon, as well as they both have end of turn DNA. And so the reason that it's not so important to have these level 4s is our level 5s have the same ability. It's blocker and evade on its face and in the inheritable.
No need to double.
So that's one of the big strengths of the promo Dracomon is you skip the level 4 and it doesn't really matter because our level 4s have the same exact inheritable as level 5. So the big support that this deck now needs, you don't need to replace the level 5s. The level 3s are really good now. We just need level 4s that have effects that aren't already on the important cards in the deck. We're going to go straight into the big bad of the deck, which is the Examon from EX3.
Gotta find that card.
This is the most important card in the deck. Obviously, it's an Examon deck. For those of you who are new to Digimon since EX3, I'll let you know what this card does. It is when Digivolving, you can tuck a 12K Dramon to its sources and play a 12K Dramon. We're playing a lot of 12K Dramons that we'll go into after this. And then all turns, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes suspended, unsuspend it and suspend something. So we'll get into the combo a little bit later, but the basic idea is whenever you block, unsuspend and suspend something, gain your 1K here and here, do whatever the case, and then suspend something.
Yeah.
So basically, for your opponent, once you're into Examon, for your opponent to have a turn that is worth anything, they have to have 3 Digimon on the board.
Yeah.
Because their thing's going to be suspended, it's going to die in battle to the Examon, et cetera, et cetera.
It's really strong board control for sure.
Now, we'll get into some 12K Dramons, starting with the best Dramon to play with Examon, which is the Slayer Dramon. Notice no foil background. This is the errata pack. This one is, first of all turns once per turn. When this Digimon becomes suspended, unsuspend it. So that's when you swing, when you block, if you put this on top of a ground Dramon, whatever the case. As well as the effect is inheritable and on its face, start of your opponent's main phase, suspend one of your Dramons to force your opponent to attack. They get to choose what they attack with, but they have to make an attack before they digivolve. If they, let's say they hatch, now it's their main phase, you have to attack.
Yep.
A ruling note on this card, when you activate its ability, it's suspended, so they can declare an attack at the Slayer Dramon.
Interesting.
Doesn't necessarily have to be at security. Another ruling note about this card. Let's say this is a very awkward deck, I do want to point this out.
Especially with all the erratas.
So let's say that our Examon stack has Slayer Dramon and sources, and you play a Slayer Dramon. So you have 2 start of your opponent's main phase do something. You do the one you can do either, but let's say you do the one that's been played out. Then they attack, they fully resolve everything. When attacking, the battle, everything. Then after that is fully resolved, then you do the second one.
Interesting.
So you do them independently, one at a time. If there are any judges watching, confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
If not, it's still really strong.
If not, yeah, you do not whiff on them is the big point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
And then our partner in crime to Slayer Dramon is the Break Dramon.
Oh, just the 2.
Just the 2. We had to make room for a third level 6 that we'll talk about in a sec. But this card's really important. Your ideal Examon plays Slayer Dramon and tucks Break Dramon.
Gotcha.
Because the Break Dramon does not have the same start of main ability that the Slayer Dramon has. It has on its face, when this Digimon becomes suspended, suspend something. And then all turns, as well as the inheritable and on its face, when this one set on its face, it's when one of your Digimon deletes a Digimon in battle, trashes security, and inheritable when this Digimon deletes a Digimon in battle, trash security.
Gotcha.
So our ideal play is play the Slayer Dramon, tuck the Break Dramon, start of main, make them attack, block with the Examon, unsuspend and suspend something, trash a security.
Yeah.
And from there, your opponent is in a world of hurt. The one last level 6 in the deck, I ended up taking out one Break Dramon.
If this is Hydron, I swear.
It's not Hydron, it's Imperial Dramon Dragon Mode Ace.
Interesting choice.
So the reason that this is important is it counts as a Dramon.
Yep.
As well as it has on play and when digivolving, suspend one Digimon, not necessarily itself, then unsuspend one Digimon. So you can suspend one of your opponent's things, unsuspend your Examon.
Yeah.
You can, the most common play you'll see is suspend itself and then unsuspend itself, and then activate its all turns. When this Digimon becomes unsuspended, play out a 4K, which is any of our rookies, none of our level 4s, or a Tamer, which, for those of you who don't know what it is by now, welcome to Digimon, and thank you for playing, and thank you for watching.
It's been around since the beginning of time.
The other good thing about this card specifically is if, let's say, our Examon is suboptimal, and we do not get to play out a Slayer Dramon, we can play out a Ground Dramon and then threaten the Dragon Mode Ace. So we can counter into the Dragon Mode Ace, resolve its when digivolving skill, and then it's active as a blocker. Which is very, very nice.
I like that.
So that's it for the Digimon. One thing you've heard me say a lot on various podcasts and deck profiles is we need blank memory boost for rogue decks.
Yeah.
I'm calling for it for like things like Leomon, Gamamon would really benefit from it, things like that. And we're starting to see them with the D Brigade memory boost, Machine Dramon memory boost. But the reason we don't need it for this deck is we already have blue-green memory boost, and his name is Davis.
Yeah.
So a full play set of the Davis.
Wow.
You
really like to go to 3 in this deck.
Yeah. The interesting thing about this is I shy away from memory tamers in a lot of my decks.
Yeah.
I think it's quite slow. I think you don't really necessarily want to like forcing your opponent to put you to 3 every turn is kind of whatever, in my opinion. But the important thing about Davis is it's going to grab 2 cards almost every time.
It's a net 1 card.
And it's another one of those that you don't really feel bad playing multiples of this because once you get your pieces, it's go time.
Yep.
For example, if your turn 1 is Dracomon in the Raising and hard play Davis, your opponent is going to be looking at Examon a lot of the times turn 2.
Well, and it pairs so well with the Cordramon because now you're threatening 7 cards out of security that are going to draw you 2 cards.
That's right. And so Davis is actually the most important card to find in the early game. So we play 4 mental training to try and find him ASAP. Mental training is obviously very awkward in this deck.
Yeah.
If you don't have the Ground Dramon, you can't activate the Dracomon ability. If you don't have the Break Dramon, you're not going to be trashing security. That was the other good thing about the promo is it's blue-green.
Blue-green,
So it's going to be searchable by our mental training. But mostly the reason that we're playing mental training is we're looking for Davis.
Gotcha.
And then that's the other weird thing about the Dracomon. You cannot activate mental training in between warping.
Right.
So it's not even necessarily that we're playing mental training to reduce Evo cost, which you will do going into the Cordramon, the Wing Dramon, etc.
You'll speed the other stack up a little bit.
But we're mostly doing it to find Davis. We've got some more options in the deck. The first, we're playing blue-green, so we might as well throw in 2 Megadeth.
Yep.
The cheapest bounce in the game. I don't think they'll ever print anything quite as cheap to bounce something to hand.
Yeah.
That's a very strong card. Once we're into the Examon, anything that we don't delete in battle, we just bounce to our opponent's hand, make them start over. And starting over versus this deck is curtains.
It's really hard.
If you're not able to out it immediately, you're gonna die a slow and painful death. We are playing 2 more options in the deck. The first is Kaiser Nail.
Just the one.
Kaiser Nail is very, very strong in this deck, specifically because our Examon is going to be tucking a level 6. So the turn after we go into Examon, we Kaiser Nail out our Break Dramon. If we have Davis, we choke him to 1.
Yeah.
And from there, it just gets worse and worse. And
my favorite part about Kaiser Nail, though, is out of security. So now you have 4 things that'll play something out of security.
If you're into Examon and somehow you got into 3 or 4 Digimon, and now you have the ability to swing and I have no more blocks, it's still very threatening.
Yeah.
Last card in the deck, Ice Wall.
There it is.
It's a blue deck. It goes in. The other interesting thing about Ice Wall in this deck, paired with the Slayer Dramon, if you choke them to 1 with Ice Wall,
it's your turn.
They go to their main phase, they attack, turn pass, set right back to 3.
Yeah.
So Ice Wall continues to be one of the best cards ever. It's a blue deck. It goes in. So that's the list. Examon, it still has the same problems that Examon has always had, but drastically improved by the addition of mental training and the promo Dracomon.
Yeah, we were talking about it before the pod, and it's just certain colors are just great matchups. Red, deletion, evade, who cares? Purple, deletion, evade, who cares? You know, but you do run into the DP reduction.
DP reduction, de-digivolve is still a similar problem, but now you have a way to sort of race them to that.
Get faster for sure. Yeah. No, I love the deck. It looks airtight as usual. Looks like a Basil list. If you guys have been looking at playing Examon, I think now's a good time. It's borderline a budget deck.
Yeah,
you can get a lot of that stuff.
Secret
for really
Rare
cheap.
used to be $30, no longer.
Yeah, we almost got. You could get cases of that or boxes of that for 20 something at regionals when we went.
True.
But no, it's a great deck, man. I am jealous that your box toppers got foils when mine didn't in the last set. So if you haven't checked out that Dracomon, this is kind of the inspiration for it. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you guys in the next one. We have BT15 right around the corner. This has been a crazy short format, so we're trying to cram these EX5 decks in before we get to BT15. So stay tuned. We got a lot on the way.
We got it.